Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hiba.
And I'm Zaid,
You're listening to Diary of a Matchmaker.
a podcast that will take you into our world as matchmakers.
We'll share our experiences and offer advice for the single Muslim.
So let's dive in.
Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode. My name is Zaid and on the other mic is my wife and co-host Hiba.
Assalamu alaikum.
So we've done a lot of workshops, alhamdulillah, over the past year. And the one thing that we often share is that people go through these 3 stages when trying to get married. Now, this is something that we've crafted together ourselves. It's not something that you'll find in some, obscure or psychological textbook or something. But it's based on our professional and personal experiences. So the first stage that people often go through is the ideal stage. That, sometimes when you're a teenager or even, it carries over into your early 20s, that you have this ideal version of the kind of person you want to marry. Did you have an ideal version in your mind, Hiba?
I think so. I think that would be somebody who's muscular.
He looked like what, Brad Pitt or Arnold Schwarzenegger or something?
Maybe not Schwarzenegger. No, too much muscle.
Okay.
Yeah, I think also I had a weird one. Somebody who can express his emotions in English. Because I always felt weird, like talking about intimacy and all of this in Arabic. It sounds like, I don't know.
Yeah. You always get weirded out whenever I say like Habibti or something.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I'm not Arab, so it does kind of come off weird.
Yeah, but I guess, that was one of my things. But nothing special.
Huh. For me, I would think that my ideal match was, I think what most guys want: fair skin, blue eyes, slim physique, beautiful voice.
Sorry, I disappoint.
So I wasn't far off from the average guy, I guess.
I think also, and I had an idealistic thing. Somebody who's like more a sheikh type. I wanted somebody who's like an imam, a sheikh, something like that.
Okay. That's interesting. I've actually seen that with some of our clients. So what are some idealistic expectations that you can recall from our clients?
Oh, for girls, height for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Height. I don't
We've
know
had
what's
girls
up with-
saying no, but I think without even seeing the picture.
Yeah,
They were
just based on height.
Just based on height.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much height is a big deal.
I think there's a psychological aspect to it. I don't know.
Yeah, we get girls putting on their forms 6'1",
Yeah.
6'2", I think
5'9" minimum.
5'9"
Like,
minimum,
that's
yeah.
compromise, but
Yeah.
no, yeah.
That's a compromise, exactly.
Yeah.
What else do girls share? Oh, yeah, I remember one. A girl put on her form that she expects $80K income.
Yeah.
At least, that's the minimum. And that one really stood out to me because I'm like, okay, this girl seems a bit disconnected from reality. But that's what and believe it or not, this was an expectation that we had from a girl who was in her 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this could go into reasonable, actually.
Yeah, actually,
That's
this
right.
could go into reasonable. We'll
So
get
the
to
next
reasonable in a
step-
second.
Yeah.
That takes us to reasonable. Reasonable is something that would always infuriate me when I was searching. And the way reasonable comes out is that people, when they reach a certain level of success in their life, whether it's with their income, their education, they've reached a certain status, they feel that they deserve somebody who is at the same level, if not higher, right? Income-wise, education, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is I would say twofold. Number one, your ego is dictating the process and not your values. And the second thing is that it's disconnecting you from the reality of the world that you live in as a Muslim in North America. And we'll get to the final stage because I'm kind of leading to the final stage. But how do you feel about that?
I feel I guess, like you said as well, frustrated because it goes totally against like our Islamic teachings, where you should look for somebody who's compatible with you and a level of like deen, you're attracted to their character, their manners, all of that.
Yeah.
And then we put that aside and we start from their profession, how their status in society, all of that. And for what?
Yeah. Although the hadith does mention that a guy typically looks for lineage, wealth. What's the third one?
Beauty
Beauty.
and deen. But the
Deen.
Prophet ﷺ said, فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ.
Right.
Marry the pious one. Go for the pious one. You will be successful.
Yeah. So in our situation, for example, Hiba has a master's degree and I don't. But when we were going through our courting phase, that was never an issue, right? Like it was actually a great conversation starter. I learned so much about what her degree was about, what she was learning. She was able to teach me, and it was great to see that. But I've seen it so much, especially in the Desi community, where where doctors are treated as the cream of the crop. And the expectation is that, well, if a guy's a doctor, then he deserves somebody who's close to that level, if not higher. Or, in terms of physical beauty, she's got to be a 10 out of 10 because, hey, he's a doctor now. So
even if he's 4,
even if he's a 4, right? He deserves a 10 because, hey, he's a doctor now. He's put in about 10 years into achieving his degree. But at the end of the day, those degrees, that income it's not for you to gain leverage in the matchmaking process.
Exactly.
It's your achievement.
Yeah, it's
right?
for you.
It's for you to contribute something to society. It's for you to have a sustainable future, for you to be able to provide for your family, things like that. So it's just sad to see how much that takes priority.
And we actually heard it from a guy. He said that I spent so many years in school pursuing my medical degree. It's only reasonable or it's only fair that I marry also a doctor. So it's like, are the careers getting married or are you as humans getting married, right?
Right. Because there's so much more to a person than just your degree and your income.
Actually, we heard it from, you say it's more common amongst Desis. Maybe it is, but we heard it from an Arab girl as well. The sweetest girl ever. She was in her mid-30s, still single because her parents, she was a doctor. She's works in the medical field. Her family comes from that lineage, you could say. And her parents were looking for a doctor. And they're passing on prospects because they're not doctors.
Right. And ultimately, it's just hurting the girl.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then that takes us to the final stage, which is?
Realistic,
exactly. And realistic is just understanding that as a Muslim in North America, you comprise, at least specifically in Canada, for example, you're just under 5% of the population. And you always bring this up too, that even within that small population, not everyone is eligible for marriage, right? Because half are probably guys, the other half is the other gender. Some are too old, some are too young.
Some are married, some
married.
Don't want to get married.
Exactly. So we have this really cool circle that we use in our workshop. And the circle basically, it starts off as a large circle, which encompasses you or the population of Muslims in North America. And then the more conditions we put on that circle, the smaller our circle gets.
Exactly.
And what do some of the conditions look like?
Ethnicity, location, height, education,
marital
status, looks, all sorts of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the time we get we cut down that circle, our circle gets so small that
there's only like you and 3 other people in that circle.
Exactly.
Yeah? And by marital status, we mean somebody who's single, never married. Lots of people, they don't want somebody who's divorced or widowed and all of that.
Yeah.
So
and time goes by. Time is not forgiving.
And the thing is, many people spend so many years in idealistic or reasonable. And then by the time they get to realistic, either they're too old or they're burnt out or like it becomes very difficult. So we don't want you to spend so much time in those first 2 stages. Just realize from the beginning. And when we say realize the reality we live in, we're not saying like just settle for something that, like, with someone who is not compatible with you, compromise just
Not
for the
at
sake
all.
of getting married. That's not what we're saying. We're saying is start from the important things.
Right. Let your values dictate the process.
Exactly. Your
Right.
values, compatibility, and then the other things will fall into place. Maybe he's not as tall as you want, but
Maybe he lives in a different province,
but
right?
you're very compatible. Maybe she's not 10 out of 10, but she has the sweetest heart. She's successful. She would be a great mother for your children.
She'll help you grow spiritually.
Exactly.
All of those things.
Maybe he doesn't make 6 figures, but he has taqwa of Allah that will guarantee he'll take care of you and he'll respect you, respect your family. So focus on those important things.
Right. You're not going to find everything on your checklist.
Exactly.
You
And
won't.
many people, they don't realize this until it's too late. They want the perfect match. Even if they themselves are not that perfect, but
Mhm.
for some reason, we fall to see our own faults.
Yeah, remember, perfection does not exist. And especially if you're in your 30s, and I know this is going to sound harsh, but if you're a girl in your 30s, you don't have the luxury of being picky. I
Yeah.
just got to keep it real. So there has to be a level of compromise, but not compromising, of course, on your values, but approaching the subject with a little bit of flexibility,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's location, age, income, there's so much room for flexibility. And the beautiful thing about our deen is that it doesn't put these strict requirements on us. So like you said, we don't want people investing 7, 8, up to 10 years of their life hanging on to an ideal version of what they want, or a reasonable version of what they want.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to skip to realistic, right? And when we talk about skipping to realistic, that means first understanding your values, your non-negotiables. We've talked about this in previous episodes. Coming from that place, and when you have that clear understanding of what your values and non-negotiables are, you will save so much time.
Yeah.
Really, you will save so much time, because when you get into the courting phase and start asking questions, the questions will be rooted in those things.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to understand that, okay, this person might not fit the check boxes that I have in terms of ideal, but hey, realistic is more important. And this person is somebody that can live with long term.
And also, you want somebody, like we always say, you want somebody you can grow with. You're not buying a couch. Like, you're buying a couch, it's gonna stay the way you bought it, right?
Yeah.
But you're looking for somebody you can build your house with. I don't know, grow in deen together, grow financially together, all of that. So they don't have to be like ready in all aspects.
Exactly.
They don't have to check all the boxes right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. The 3 kind of pillars of marriage that we share in our workshop is that it's support, union, and growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a business transaction. It's not a status game.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things that, if you have those things in your mindset approaching marriage, inshallah, you will find the right person.
Yeah. So before we leave you, if you would like to learn more about our workshops, or if you'd like to maybe book a workshop, could be in person or virtual, feel free to get in touch with us through our website, halalmatch.ca. It's a pre-marital workshop, 3-hour, very interactive, so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it for today.
All right. Till next time.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.